if you've been following the live stream, I keep looking down here like this. It's because that's where the laptop is, so I can check everything's working.
It's right there. Yeah.
We're live right now, and I have a fellow podcaster
Yes.
who just noticed Riverside.
I know we're set up next door. We both use the same platform
There
to
we
record
go.
on. So my name is Maria McGowan, and I have a podcast called Reimagined Energy, and it's a video podcast, but it's also audio as well. Having a blast. The reason I started it was because I had so many questions. Like, I'm not a technical person, I'm not. When I first started, I didn't have a clue. It was just a passion project. And so I just wanted to get myself out there and learning as I go and bumbling along.
Amazing. I think I came from broadcasting, and the same idea. I kind of thought, how it's the best way to learn? Talk to people.
Well, that's it. And people, I'm amazed how many people want to talk about renewable energy. People are open, and academics, and then you have, regular business, solar installers included. So people are just so friendly, and I find sometimes the academics, it can be kind of tricky how they have a tough time explaining, getting it down to a grade 4 level kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's where we come in, right? Because that was exactly the goal with the Solar PV Cast was, I listened to a lot of solar specific ones out there, and they're very tech, and I was like, I'm not sure what they're saying, so I thought, well, let's simplify this and start a podcast. So how do you find the growth? Getting some great guests. Favorite episode?
Oh, favorite episode. I think it has to be probably talking with Sean Kelly. He's an energy fellow who is very well tuned into the environment. He's a consultant, energy consultant. And I like to pick his brain because he's been in the industry a long time. He's seen a lot of the trends in the industry. So that was one of my favorite ones. Awesome. And we went off script a lot, and that was a lot of fun. How about you?
Yeah, for me, Johan Hernström from Sweden.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a conversation about solar in Sweden and purchase power agreements. Yeah. And what I loved most about that was, it kind of shows that there's no boundaries in what we're doing.
Yeah.
We can have guests on from around the world.
I know, right? It's all the similar technology. We're all watching what each other is doing.
And Canada's playing catch up with everyone else. So we're kind of coming from this great place again of learning.
Yeah. And I'm finding a lot more interest in European people as well that are, interested in the podcast. They want to get their word out. But you're on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast.
This is true.
There's probably some differences. We should compare some notes. What's the West like?
Yeah, I mean, the East is ahead of the West, for sure. And I think that has a large...
That is surprising to me. When I first started, I thought, really? We're always behind everything,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the cost of power.
I think it's true. In the East, you got to get off coal.
Yeah, and it's high. I think Nova Scotia is 18 cents a kilowatt hour or something. Whereas in BC, we're still at that 9, maybe I think it's 10 cents a kilowatt hour now. Hydro, it's a little cheaper. It's renewable to an extent.
Yeah.
So I think that adoption has been a little slower on the West Coast because driving through Halifax, solar, just everywhere.
Yeah. It's interesting. When I look out my office window, I can see, with the whole neighborhood, more and more solar roofs every year.
Right.
It's really good. One thing I find out here is the innovation that's happening. And we have Dalhousie University. We have got
to get that solar racing team, right? They got a solar racing team. And so we're going to try and snag them for our podcast.
Yeah, that would be really cool to have them. Yeah, they take that solar car all over the U.S. and they race it in different industry events, and it does quite well. It's all powered by students in the sun. So
there we go.
But yeah, I'm just finding a lot of innovation happening here. There's a lot of interest, and like you said, it's the coal. We've got to tap into, be more creative with our renewable energy and find out reimagining it all. So yeah.
Reimagine podcast. I like that, and you're so right that is exactly what it's all about, and the minds in renewable energy are up for that challenge. And I think because it's finally, with support from government and policy, it's finally getting that money support. which is allowing people to reimagine and
Yes.
find out how we can do this better.
I know. It's interesting. I was talking to someone the other day, and it kind of bummed me out a little bit because they said to me, so much of the renewable energy is funded by the government. It's all the government. And then, but it's like it has to start somewhere. There has to be some sort of investment to get people interested in this.
I'm
And
pretty sure fossil fuels are funded by the government too at
yeah,
times.
right?
So I
Yeah.
mean, there's subsidies and whatever.
Yeah.
I've had those conversations.
Exactly.
Oh, it's well, look where else your tax
Yeah.
dollars are going.
And then that's true. And then the other side of it is with wind power. They mentioned with wind turbines. Imagine the energy that's going into making those wind turbines. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had a really good answer to how to contradict that.
Do you have one for solar? Because I got one.
Do you?
Okay, so if anyone says like, oh well, they're using fossil fuels to make the solar
Right.
panels.
Yeah.
So this is what you say.
EVs. Yeah. Okay.
So for solar panels, I always say, yeah, that's true. To
Right.
mine, to manufacture, to transport the solar panels, we are still using fossil fuels.
Yeah.
However, in 1 to 2 years of a solar panel's working life, it's going to generate enough clean energy to offset the bad energy that was needed to create it.
Oh, I like that.
1 to 2 years, and they're going to go 30 plus years.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
mining, and another one, mining, that's another complaint. People say, well, you still got to mine. That's true. I think we mine about 15 million tons for renewable energies, wind, solar, every year. That's a lot, but it's 75 billion tons for fossil fuels. So it's still way ahead of the game.
Exactly. And where a lot of innovation can happen, and I really wish I had the money to invest, but when these solar panels are at their end of their life, there's an industry there to recycle those panels, whether it's making
I got
jewelry.
a guest for you.
Do you?
I do. I had a chat with, oh my gosh, her name is escaping me right now.
Yeah.
Emily O'Leary. I'm sorry, Emily.
From Vancouver?
From Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, that's cool.
And she started a solar recycling company.
See?
Comes in for those big solar farm projects, recycles it all.
Wonder what does she do with them?
Just breaks them down into their components, aluminum, the copper, whatever it is, and recycles those.
Yeah.
It's 300 times more to recycle a solar panel than it is to toss it in the landfill. So that's why I think we're seeing that it can be recycled, but it's just so expensive.
It is, but it's going to get better all the time.
Especially with conferences and rooms like this, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's it. And of course, with switching gears here about EVs, the West is definitely more ahead. Last weekend, I was in Toronto, and it was like every second car was a Tesla or some sort of hybrid.
Yeah. That's Vancouver for you.
Yeah, right. And I imagine that's happening. Here, it's kind of a slow adoption a little bit. And I think it really comes down to infrastructure. We don't have the fast charging, the DC2s and the DC3s. Hi. But, it's just really, you guys are way ahead of us there.
For sure. Yeah, no, it is funny how, in these different markets, these different parts of the country, how it's policy or just like-minded people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a fun industry to be in. And so the Reimagine podcast isn't just solar.
No.
It's
energy in general.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. There's hydrogen. There's a lot of different components.
Yeah. So much to learn.
Oh, man.
That's why I just focused on solar. I was like, my brain can handle one thing at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I should have in hindsight, but I'm having a blast. And thanks so much for having me today.
No,
Good to see you, Chris.
This is Maria McGowan.
Yes.
From the Reimagine Energy podcast. Yep. Shout out to her daughter, Lauren, for helping out. And it's been great.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you later.
Hit the button. Here we go.
Thank you. That was fun.